Welcome to the Cows Channel, where today we talk about how Insomniac has been hacked. Yes, it's another hacking story, but holy crud, you guys, this one's kind of big. This is a Cow's Opinion, where we go over the latest, greatest, and sometimes really terrible things that have happened on the internet. And today, from Video Game Chronicles, one of our favorite posters, Mr. Chris Scullion, has been writing this article because I don't think I covered it, but last week a hacker group claimed to have hacked PlayStation Studio Insomniac. Now, Insomniac has made, most recently, the amazing Spider-Man 2 video game. And the ransomware group Residia claimed that they had hacked PlayStation's Insomniac games that would release a huge number of files unless they were paid their ransom. And this wasn't just, oh, we're going to show what your upcoming slate is, or, oh, we're going to release code. They threatened to release sensitive data about everything: the company, the games, the employees, the schedule, the code, everything, and they wanted to be paid. It also, as proof, had an annotated screenshot from the upcoming Wolverine game that they had successfully hacked them, and then said that they would start publishing the data within 1 week. Starting bit price for the data, 50 bitcoins, which at the time was about $2 million. So, kind of a lot of money. However, Cyber Daily is now reporting that the hacker group followed through its threats and unleashed an amazing 1.3 million files. That is 1.67 terabytes of data. You heard that right. Terabytes. Most computers that people have don't even have that much memory. Residia is saying that they've released about 98% of the stolen data, stating that the not sold data was uploaded, which means that they may have sold 2% of it to someone. They don't claim who they sold it to or how much or why or anything, but tons of people, we're probably going to have follow-up videos about this, guys, because a lot of people have already started downloading and just, unpacking, reading, and looking through all these files, and there is an amazing amount of disturbing information here. Not disturbing as in Insomniac is evil, wah wah wah. No, this is the sheer amount of information that they have is disturbing. They have information on upcoming games. They have assets for upcoming games. They have a lot of information about the upcoming Wolverine game that people are unpacking. They have a publishing agreement about Marvel and with future games that they're unpacking. They have internal human resource documents, which can be incredibly embarrassing and give a ton of information out on your staff. They have budgets, which is an incredibly bad thing to leak because it lets your competitors, even within Sony teams, know what you're spending and how you're spending it. It can give them a heads up on how they can better compete with you. Residia's initial threat last week also included evidence that had employee passports, personal documents related to Spider-Man voice actor Ewan Lothenwell, internal emails, more confidential documents. It is not clear if that stuff that they claimed last week was released, or what was sold to another party, or what party even bought it. And Sony has currently not responded to people's ask for comment. To be fair, it's 1.67 terabytes of data. It may take Sony and Insomniac a little bit of time to figure out, how in the hell this happened. Somebody is probably going to get fired for this. Okay, this is not like a small little security breach. This is a massive amount of data. And I wanted to show this one thing because this is the Insomniac Games Roadmap Extended, guys. Now, as you can see, it's part of the documents. It has Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and the remastered Spider-Man. Then it has Ratchet and Clank back in 2021. And then it has Spider-Man 2 here in 2023. Now, if these documents are to be believed, and there's no reason not to based on what they've said, Wolverine is coming in 2025. Spider-Man 3 is coming in 2027. X-Men is coming in 2029. I don't even know what that is. Or is it another open world game, or are they going to do something different? Because it's not called Wolverine or Jean Grey or any one person. It's called X-Men. A new IP is slated for 2031, X-Men 3 in 2033, which is a little bit interesting because where is 2? And a second IP in 2035. Guys, that's letting you know, and it kind of makes sense, as you can see, every approximately 2 years, Insomniac's releasing a game. With their level of quality and detail, I can understand it. Tons of information have been coming out about this, guys. I mean, it is... Look, it sucks to get hacked, but the sheer amount of data that was recovered... not recovered, excuse me. The sheer amount of data, 1.67 terabytes of data posted online, tells me that somebody... I mean, they must have been... Maybe they had multiple people security, or one really high-level executive security, to get access to all of this. I mean, HR files, the future game stuff, the lead voice actor on Spider-Man, their internal emails, the stuff about the upcoming Wolverine game, the roadmap to what is apparently the next decade plus of Insomniac titles, including the fact that, look, X-Men games? Sure, I love it, but holy crud, guys. And also, I mean, they're lucky that they only have new IP written in here so that they don't have that spoiled, because they're like, what is that title? What does that mean? So we're going to look at the comments, and it's probably going to be about what I think. That's a horrible thing to do. I understand leaking projects and whatnot, but personal info is way too much. Nobody can look at this leak with any amount of joy. Personal information, early reviews of future projects, sensitive documents regarding sales and costs, leak builds, concept art, and more. This is the nightmare for any game studio. The leaks about new games are irrelevant. The sensitive data regarding employees is what most concerning. Fear for those who work hard to provide entertainment only provide entertainment for us, for then a few auction-abusing morons to ruin it and put their privacy in jeopardy. And if you're celebrating this, you're as bad as the hackers. I applaud Insomniac for not pandering to their demands. I've been reading the comments around a few sites, and the reaction from ex-boys is weird. Gloating and dumping on Insomniac and Sony. Literally delighted they were hacked and personal details leaked. Just check the project until 2032. No resistance, so I hope the other studio will give that IP another shot. Haven't seen FPS from Sony for so long. Too many Marvel games. Well, I finally did it. I blocked Johnny Xbox. He posted the exact same comments on IGN. This sucks. Also seeing fanboys gloat about their sales number and their future games are sickening. Grow up. Shame that Insomniac has turned into a full Marvel licensed IP studio at this point. Spider-Man 2 costing $400 million to make also seems insanely high. Even if it sold well to start, did it recoup costs? Really interesting. What's really unfortunate is that the parasites behind these hacks are from countries such as Korea or Russia, where such activities are only consequence against their fatherland. They remain free of any legal consequences. Hate this for Insomniac and Sony. It's interesting. Yeah, there was a bunch of sales data that was leaked. We'll see if we can find... I am not posting anything sensitive, guys, because I also don't want to... The fact that the employee-sensitive data and potentially embarrassing stuff of them, I mean, that sucks. It's interesting to see that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart only sold $2.2 million, which caused a loss of $8 million. Despite all the hype by a fan base, it didn't sell well. Also surprised that Wolverine looks so colorful and cartoony. Would have assumed they aimed for more realistic. There's a Sony document about Game Pass and ABK acquisition. Oh my god. There's tons of information in this, guys. It's 1.67 terabytes, and usually I would try to at least glance at the main stuff, but there's just too much information for a little channel like mine to go through. The shift from PlayStation to Xbox, Microsoft's comprehensive ecosystem, coupled with exclusivity, creates greater dominance, a massive threat to PlayStation Plus. Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Second addendum, the Xbox deal reveals that provisions for console bundles are measured in a percentage of the wholesale price. Disney gets 30 to 50% from PS5 X-Men bundles. I wonder how much Microsoft gets from PS5 Call of Duty. You missed the bit about unsustainable game subscription. You missed the fact that Sony is already $31 billion in debt, while Microsoft, a corporation that's 26 times larger, can easily stem from. You know that Microsoft is $85 billion in debt. Yeah, but here's the same. It has 85 in debt, but 143 in cash. Just because you have a credit card and debt doesn't mean. Obviously, yeah. And so look, they're just arguing about stuff. But I want to point this part up. This guy has a point. Sony's debt is 29% of their market cap, but Microsoft's is only 3%. Sony's is much more untenable. Going by your logic, a company 1/26 the size of Sony, which is $4 billion like Square Enix, would be fine with $11.5 billion of debt. It's 37% of the debt of Sony, just like Sony is 37% of the debt of Microsoft, despite being 26 times smaller. Yeah, it's really terrible. Sony is kind of in debt. Wonder who bought that data and what it was? Microsoft, always. I don't honestly think Microsoft would do it because that would be terrible if it ever got out. Could be Disney to protect some sensitive contact information regarding Marvel, or some big game company wanting information about the tech or engines behind their AAA open world, which all really nice. Sony is finished. I don't know. Huge leak exposing. It's definitely a shock to know that Ratchet and Clank sold so poorly after so much hype, and it is. Kind of callous of Sony not to pay the ransom, let all their employee personal details go public. They could have at least paid for that part. Yeah, but what was to stop from selling again? Yeah, that's the big problem with paying ransom. You are counting, and statistically, amazingly enough, hackers that get paid don't then just release the information. But it does happen, and then you're both humiliated and out millions of dollars. Let's recount all the events since Sony failed on stopping acquisitions. Jim Ryan fired, Sony got hacked, massive employee layoffs, high-profile studios, multiple gas games delayed, $5 billion loss. It's a ton of bad news for Sony, unfortunately. Am I also the only one who finds it weird that when the Switch was selling like hotcakes, hackers aimed the attacks at Nintendo partners, and now that PS5 is hot, they aimed it almost as if someone is paying them to... I don't think it's someone paying them to go after the market. I think it's literally just because they're hot and printing money, you're like, well, maybe I can get some money out of this. So give me a second. I'll put in a slight edit here. So we do have Reddit posts from Gaming Links and Rumors. The highlights of this image gallery. Here we go. I did manage to find it. Spider-Man 2's budget was $315 million. That's a lot, man. And when you consider the marketing, that's probably what pushed it to $400. The return on investment for Miles was 122%. That's good. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart did not make a profit, and that Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine's numbers on the chart seem to be estimates, but both will cost more than $300 million to make, which may explain why Ratchet is pushed out to 2029. But here we go. So lifetime units, Miles is 10.2. Spider-Man Remastered was 4. Ratchet and Clank 2.2. Spider-Man 2 was 10.5. Spider-Man 3, 14.5. I wonder if that's estimates. Wolverine is estimating 10 million. The total revenue, the return on investment, the break-even points are the 3 million units, I bet, not money. Yeah, total profit was 104. Total profit on the it's a remaster. 8 million negative here. Spider-Man 2 so far has made 75 million. These games have legs. I would not be surprised if it cracks 100. I guess these are estimates based on what they think Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine would do. But that's still really interesting to see. Yeah, now I know why they went full Marvel. Ratchet and Clank is the only game they've made recently. Makes me feel that's why big budget allocated for a final Ratchet game put the IP to bed. Don't know if they'll do that or not. But, guys, here's the thing. It sucks to get hacked, and I feel for the Insomniac employees who just had probably embarrassing stuff. There's probably HR notice. Not even like, I'm not talking like what Activision Blizzard was doing to their employees. There's probably tons of embarrassment, like you were having trouble clocking in on time. You had too many sick days because you took this time off because you had a death in the family. There's a ton of employee information that's been hacked. And that sucks for the employees, because they didn't do anything to deserve this. I understand the arguments, both for and against paying for the hack, because unfortunately, there's no guarantee. Even though hackers almost never release information after you've paid for it, there's no guarantee that they won't. So you can be out both the money and you can also be out the data when it gets released anyway. I would be very curious to know who bought that 2%. Could be Disney protecting something on their IPs. Could be Sony or Insomniac protecting something. Could be a competitor or just somebody who had Bitcoin kicking around. I've seen people spend it on worse. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think. This is almost certainly not going to be the last time we're going to hear about it on this channel. I guarantee you that as they go through 1.3 million files, there's going to be some bombshells, some really interesting points. And we will not show... We have the estimated revenue here, but we're not going to show anything embarrassing. We're not going to post employee information. We will have discussions based on what they say, but don't expect us to post personal data or anything like that. I'm not interested in doing that kind of talk, guys. I want you in the comments to let me know what you think about this. And you know what else you can do? You can play more games! Games are awesome, and you deserve the awesome. I'll see you next time.